Kyrie, oohs and ahs, ball on a string. Kevin Love backs out. The bottom from Kyrie Irving. Kevin Love, weak side rebound. And a chance for the one and goal. Mr. LeBron James and a rim record. Korver sends it. Got it! He hit it from Parma.
Welcome to CavsHQ. Thank you for joining us on Fox Sports Ohio and the Cavaliers Radio Network. Now, here are your hosts, John Michael and Rafa Hernandez-Brito.
We are coming to you from the newly named Fred McLeod TV studio and media workroom inside Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. This is CavsHQ. I'm John alongside Rafa, and appropriately the organization has named this fantastic studio after Fred McLeod, and we know he's going to be with us for each and every show. He's going to be with us for each and every season as we move forward.
And I couldn't wait to get this show going because it was going to be our first one from not only it's part of the transformation what went on in this workroom, in this studio. And I guess it's a little pressure that Freddie Mac is always going to be watching over us or how we're making his studio look, you know?
You better make him proud.
This is somewhere where he was always here talking to the coach,
right.
Talking to players. So it's our job and our duty to make sure that we carry on that search of perfection that Freddie McLeod was always known for.
Because we know that's exactly what he
that's what he would have wanted.
Exactly what he would have wanted. We missed you, buddy, and we continue to carry on. Cavaliers have game number 1 of the preseason in the books. They knock off San Lorenzo by the final of 120-89. You became quite close with this San Lorenzo. I was going to ask you this. So let's back up for a second. Mm-hmm. First of all, this team, they're from Argentina,
correct.
Buenos Aires. They got in on Tuesday of last week, 6 days prior to the game day, right? Mm-hmm. And somehow you started hanging out with the team and became the de facto ambassador. Did somebody ask you to do that, or did you just went up to them and suddenly you're best buddies within 6 days?
Just to
you guys are exchanging gifts by game time.
Just to give you a little background, it wasn't just a preseason game that was played the other day here at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. It is part of the initiative that the Cavaliers and the league have in trying to not only grow the game of basketball in Latin America now that the game has been so global, but trying to create alliances outside of the United States and trying to give a little exposure to our guys and also to help the Argentina. And the reason San Lorenzo de Almagro was chosen is because they are the current 3-time champions.
Four-time
champions of the Argentinian
top league, right?
And by default, me speaking Spanish and you know, being a friendly guy, I guess.
You are, yes.
I was offered the opportunity
overly friendly,
to make the contact with them, and then that was Tuesday.
Somebody did tell you to do that?
Somebody asked me if I could come in.
Okay.
And so I came in and I met the guys that turned out to be really nice guys.
Yeah.
And their vice president, Marcelo Tinelli, who is the most popular person in Latin America, probably in what entertainment it's about.
Outside
I follow him on Twitter for years. And, of course, I figured, hey, you know what? Let me go say hello to Marcelo myself.
All right.
So
was he happy to see you?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
He actually was very happy and very, very candid. For a person that is in the
get the heck out of here.
Well, you know,
you stop bothering me.
You never know what to expect.
Speak Spanish.
You never know what to expect when you think you know somebody from TV. And then you meet him in person.
Right.
So,
I agree.
They turn out to be really nice guys, and they really enjoy my hosting of showing them. I made sure I showed them Cleveland and also the Cavaliers organization.
That's what I was laughing about. By Saturday, you were going out to dinner.
Yes.
You took them. You took the
we
whole
went to
team?
We went to Barroco. And Juan Vergara, thank you so much. He treated us like kings, brought every item in the menu on the table. And I kept saying, where is John Michael when I need him?
Yeah,
like,
well, you didn't invite me. Well, Apparently you found some new friends
you were busy.
Supplanted the Michaels.
Well, you know what I didn't bring you?
No.
That was the only night that I didn't have to translate because it was everybody speaking Spanish at Barroco speaking Spanish. So it was kind of like my break from translating all week. But it was a very great, very awesome experience.
Hey, and they represented themselves well. They had a 3-point lead. Did San Lorenzo after the first quarter. Cavs got hot in the second quarter and rolled from there. But, hey, a nice effort. It was a nice exhibition game all the way around. I mean, Cavs got through unscathed, nobody injured.
I'll tell you what happened.
Did the job from the second quarter on. Go ahead.
My sources informed me that after the first quarter, the NBA League Pass signal went off at the Vatican So
so tell the background. I mean,
yeah. So it's a social club. San Lorenzo de Almagro is a social club. They have all kinds of sports, but Pope Francis is a member from his youth of the Club Atlético San Lorenzo. So he has a membership card, and he welcomes all the teams from San Lorenzo that win a championship. So I'm pretty sure there was some divine intervention for San Lorenzo.
They needed more
in the first quarter.
Yeah, they went in the first quarter. In the first quarter alone,
a little more than that.
Yeah, AC and I said hi to the Pope just in case he was tuning in from the Vatican. We have a lot to get to. Campy Russell's our featured guest here in the first half of the show. He's straight ahead right here on CavsHQ. And we're back on CavsHQ, joined now by our featured guest, none other than Campy Russell. Camp, good to see you.
Good to see you guys as well.
I do the background music.
He's already a Michigan guy here. He's already provoking as well.
You know what's interesting? He's not a Michigan guy. He just likes to provoke our viewing audience.
That's not true.
Is he from Michigan? Did he attend Michigan?
But
he
that
just
don't
provoked.
necessarily have to go to Michigan to
It's
like
okay
Michigan.
for you.
No, that's okay for him.
Oh, it is, huh?
We take on all comers.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have to be
You guys are
an alum to like Michigan.
I understand that. I'm not saying you are.
I like the
I'm just
helmets.
saying you're more provoking
I like
than
the
anything
5'5".
else.
Provoking.
You guys are feeling a lot better now that
Provocateur.
now that the new head coach John Beilein just spent the last 12 seasons at your alma mater.
Yes.
Interesting camp Beilein thus far, hasn't it been?
It definitely has, and I think it's as advertised. When we brought Coach Beilein on, the things that we talked about is how well a coach, how good of a coach he is, number one, and how he is a detailed guy and how he believes in the fundamentals of basketball, how he deals with the younger players as well as our older players or veteran players. And as advertised, he's done exactly that. He's come in and has put in his system, or at least getting his system started. It is a system that allows everybody to be engaged into the game, which I think is a beautiful thing on both ends of the court. So Coach Beilein has done an outstanding job, and now he's just trying to get his system in place and go from there.
And you know what? I like the fact that nobody is exempt of his teaching, of his direction. He's talking to veterans, like you said. He's talking to the young guys. And bottom line is, we have heard so much talk about this whole transition, about the culture of the Cavaliers, about what Coach Beilein and our general manager, Kobe Allman, wants to accomplish with a squad, not for this season only, but as we move forward. And I think we've seen it so far. This is the guy who has a lot of energy, who is really always willing to teach something to whoever is that is handling in practice, that is touching the ball or making a mistake or trying to learn something. And I think that's very healthy to see how everybody's buying into the program, because it's something that everybody's developing some part of their game.
And there's no question, and to me, the game is still about fundamentals. The game is still about effort. The game is still about, playing as a team, and that is what Coach Beilein is about, is having everybody playing as a team and all on the same page. And those are the things that he's trying to work to get within his system, is to get everybody on the same page. And once that happens, then that gives you a greater opportunity to win basketball games. And to me, I think the game is still about trying to win basketball games.
That offense of John Beilein is predicated upon ball movement, player movement, read and react, a lot of cutting, a lot of dribble handoffs. And boy, in preseason game number 1, how many back doors did we see? Cavaliers coming wide open along that baseline.
And again, that's just the beauty of playing Coach Beilein's style of play. Is the spacing is there, the ball movement is there, the body movement is there, all those elements are there. Now it's just a matter of this Cavalier team getting to the point where they're not thinking about it, but they're reacting. Because once you stop thinking and just react, that's when the beauty of basketball shows up. And to me, that is what Coach Beilein is trying to do, is to impart that attitude into them every single day so that they can get it, and then they take off from there.
John Beilein has said that he wants his assistants' voices to be heard.
Yes.
One of those assistants is J.B. Bickerstaff, who's the head coach of the Grizzlies. Of course, last season he's in charge of the defense, and we talked to him about what are you going to do with that defensive system. And I want to get your take on this, Campy. I mean, the Cavs coaching staff has made no secret of this. The Cavs defense last season was not much to write home about. It needs to improve and improve dramatically. He said, look, in terms of the system, it's simple. Just be really good at the things we do. And when asked what those things were, eliminating layups, eliminating threes, forcing teams to be a mid-range game against us. And I said, how exactly do you do that? And he said the number one thing, be more physical on the defensive end, put more bodies on people, and don't let players run where they want to with or without the basketball.
Well, all those things are tough things to do in this new age of basketball, where it's hard to be as physical as you want, but based upon you have to utilize the rules and still be physical. And you can still do that, by putting yourself in the right place, playing with more energy, playing with high energy, playing with this attitude that I'm not going to allow you to do what you want to do with me out there on the floor. And I think that's the kind of attitude that Coach wants this team to have, we're not going to back down from anyone. We're going to play at a high level on the defensive side of the ball, but it all starts with taking away the space, not allowing your opponent to go anywhere he wants to get, and to kind of dictate out there on the floor defensively. And I think that's the mindset that this team has to have.
And it's funny how you mentioned the fundamentals, because the way the rules are going, remember when everybody's learning basketball, you taught to slide with your hands up when you're playing in defense. And now it's basically, Coach Bielan was talking about after the game against San Lorenzo with Kevin Porter Jr., that they finally had tape to show him some of the things that they were trying to tell him during practice that he couldn't do, or that he's going to have to learn to do better, which is like he got called for, I think, a couple of
three early fouls,
but cheap ones as well.
Yeah.
So it's funny, it all comes down to what he's trying to instill in everybody, which is the fundamentals of the game of basketball.
I can't say there was cheap fouls. Those were fouls that has been where there's emphasis on those.
They get called in today's game.
Right? They are actually concentrating on that,
exactly,
on taking that part of the defense.
Exactly, and I think that's important. I think that the sooner that you understand that as an individual defender as well as a team defender, the better defending team that this Cavalier team will be.
You guys know what the average points per game were per team last season? 111.2, nearly 5 more points than the previous season, highest in 48 years. That was the 70-71 season. To give you some perspective, the Bucks won the championship that season. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the league MVP. Only a few short months later, a bright young man out of the University of Notre Dame was drafted #1 overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers in Austin Carr. So it's been a long, long time since we've seen this many points in the NBA. Your points on why it's a little more difficult to defend now in the NBA are well taken. It is the 50th season of Cavalier basketball. When we come back, we're going to get some of Campy's perspective on the last, half century here with this organization. Also, the new digs inside the newly transformed Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. That's straight ahead right here on CavsHQ. Back inside the newly transformed Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. We're joined by our special guest. It is Campy Russell,
ambassador of the
Ambassador, yeah. I mean, it's the Cavs.
My title keeps changing. Man. Every time I come down
they're all
here.
good
That's my
titles.
job here.
Yeah, gotcha. They're all good complimentary titles.
Yes, it is. I'll take it.
Here's my question. What do you think about the new digs? I mean, a sparkling new facility 2 weeks ago, the ribbon cutting ceremony, and wow, right?
To me, is a wow. It's spectacular. It's something that anybody that comes into this building now will say the same thing. Man, wow, look at this, man. All the different neighborhoods that we have now in the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I just think it's just an ideal place to watch basketball, as well as to visit and be a part of all the atmosphere that's going to be here. To me, I think that's the beauty of this building, and the fact that there's just so much more to do within the building.
This morning we had our friends, the executive from San Lorenzo de Almagro, having a tour of the field house, and it is amazing all the little things that you keep learning. You hear about how we had the second fewest amount of common space in the NBA
prior to the
transformation, and now we have one of the most, because just the atrium is 43,000 square footage, and when you stand there. And where we have the flex walls that I want to talk to you about, one of them and specifically. But when you stand in there, either by the Sherwin-Williams entrance or by the Cliffs entrance, and you realize that 2 years ago that was the street.
Yeah, you were standing in the street, in the road.
Right. And now I love the fact that everywhere you go, you can actually see the city. There's natural light coming in. That the
That
Cleveland is
overlook
exposed
bar.
everywhere.
Ooh,
There's a room where you can actually see home plate of Progressive Field from the club floor. So it is unbelievable what they have done to this.
everybody
place.
says
It's new.
everybody says how spectacular the outside is. I say
That's just the
wait
beginning.
to get
Wait
into
to see
it.
back here.
Yeah. Yes. But the other thing about it is, and you just touched upon it, is how now there is a great connection between this building and the rest of the city.
That's well said. Yeah.
That is to me, that's the essence of this building and how it was put together. But once you get inside, it takes on a whole different view for you.
Now,
Just call Campy if you want a tour. He'll take you around.
he's always available.
Yes, I am.
It'll cost you $1,000, I mean, for his services, but well worth it. Hey, you're doing some special things with the Cavs Legends for the 50th season of Cavs basketball. Tell me about the Wall of Honor.
Well, to me, the Wall of Honor is something that we have been pushing for a long time. And because of the new building that we have now with all the new space, we can now go back and honor some of the guys who may not be a jersey retired kind of guy, but they may be guys who have impacted this team or are guys that have impacted this team, whether it's on the court and off the court. So we're honoring those guys this year. And this year we're honoring what we call pretty much the first. And that goes back to when this organization was first built. The first person who made this all happen, it was about Nick Milletti. We're honoring him this year. The next person is Bill Fitch, who was our first coach ever in Cavalier history. And then we're also honoring Wayne Emery, who was the first African-American or black to be a general manager, in particular in the NBA. And then you cannot forget about their first draft choice, which was John Johnson. He was not only our first draft choice, but he was also our first All-Star as a Cavalier. So we're honoring him. And then Hot Rod Williams, a guy who has since has passed, but a guy who was the epitome of what Cavalier basketball was about. Selfless guy, a guy that was so versatile that, to me, any team that he was going to be on was going to be a very good basketball team. And that's how I look at Hot Rod Williams. But that's just a part of the guys that we're honoring this year. But what we're trying to do is to tell the story about the Cleveland Cavaliers because a lot of people don't know the history of it, and we want to tell that story, and it all starts with Nick Milletti.
I want to start a campaign here. Last season,
Here
Jordan
we
Clarkson
go.
broke the record for most point scorers of coming off the bench.
That's true.
And broke the record
Excellent
of a guy
players.
that played
Excellent
during the years there was no 3-point line. So
true.
it kind of like you gotta. I don't know if you're gonna put an asterisk in it, but let's get a hashtag in. Put Campy in the Wall of Honor because you should be there too. If I was in charge of the Wall of Honor, I would have put myself in.
Well, all things in time.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
All things in time, because to me, I think it was mainly because this is our 50th year. It's mainly about the Trailblazers. It's mainly about, for us to be who we are, we have to have a foundation.
And
those guys are part of the
of
foundation of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that's why, to me, that's why we wanted to have those guys to be the first block.
And am I right by saying that the guys whose number has been retired are also in the Wall of Honor?
Yes, they are.
Because
Yes,
I
they
saw
are.
Larry Nance.
Correct. Yeah.
Senor Cavalier.
Yeah.
I saw Joe Tate, the man you replaced on the radio, and now, right?
Yeah. So all of those, along with these other 5 people that we just spoke about.
Are there any, for going forward, any prerequisite to be considered to be in the Wall of Honor?
Well, yes, it is.
Like-
a lot of it has to do with your character. How you carry yourself, how you deal with yourself on the court as well as off the court. Your performances speak for themselves for the most part. But I think we want to go a little deeper than that because to me, this organization was built on integrity. It was built on how you function, not only on the court but outside of the court. So those are some of the things that we're really looking at in that area. So for the most part, most of the guys that have come through here
Have represented.
has represented us big time, and that all for one for all attitude as well.
And for those who aren't familiar, it was Campy who spearheaded the whole effort with the Wall of Honor. Congratulations, bravo! It's a huge part of what makes this building so special.
And it was a long time coming, which is something that we always wanted to have happen. But again, as I just said to you when you were talking about me being on the Wall of Honor, everything comes in time. And that's what happened here. Everything came in time. It came in the right time, and now we're at our 50th anniversary, and we're going to celebrate this whole year, reaching back, talking about not just the 70s, but the 80s, the 90s. We're going to talk about the gun eras. We're going to talk about the Richfield eras. So we want to bring everybody under the same thought about the history of Cavaliers, past and present.
Camp, great stuff. Thanks so much. Have a
Thank
great
you,
season.
guys. Appreciate you.
All right, Cavs HQ rolls on right after this. And we welcome you back to Cavs HQ. As so many of you know, a pillar of the Cavaliers organization is community service, and the Cavaliers are celebrating 50 seasons on the court and in the Northeast Ohio community. The organization continues to make a difference in the lives of individuals and families in the area. The Cavs support a full roster of year-round efforts with special emphasis on education, youth and family services, health and wellness, life skills, and fighting neighborhood blight. The Cavaliers are all for one for all. Cavs in the Community is brought to you by Discount Drug Mart. We'll be right back with the second half of Cavs HQ. And we're back on Cavs HQ for the second half hour, and we are joined by the founder of Cavs.com, a regular on this show. It is Joe Gabriele. Joseph, good to see you.
Great seeing you guys. Rafa, you look very pretty today.
He does look nice.
Thank you.
Really? I was
It
a beautiful
it wasn't planned.
Well, here's what happened. Rafa, of course, is the Spanish voice, not only of the Cavs, but of the Cleveland Browns. Mm-hmm. And you just got off the plane from San Francisco.
That is correct.
This morning, correct? Yes. What was that plane ride like?
Very quiet. I slept because I had a few meetings when as soon as I landed, but it was a quiet, and I kind of knew it was going to be a quiet game after the first play of the game for San Francisco. It was incredible to see how everything that was done the week before just came to a halt.
I know, and I guess I don't know, Joseph. It's better to be up and down than just down all the time, right? I mean, I guess, but maybe that's part of the frustration because you know what they can do after they really put it on the Ravens the week before, and then
I mean, you know what? I think the most depressing thing about it for me was about me. The most depressing thing was.
Let's talk about you.
Okay, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
I'm sad because I mean the Browns got punched in the mouth. The one thing I love about being like the AFC North is be tough. Mm-hmm. If nothing else, just be tough. And they just got manhandled.
Yeah, but I gotta say this though. They the first play offensively for San Francisco was a textbook play, 83 yards.
We were still on the air, right? We didn't see
it.
When we got off the air.
I gotta tell you, their fullback is the best fullback that I have seen in years. Juszczyk. He blocks, he catches, he runs, everything.
Ohio guy.
And then Nick Bosa did that thing.
That's what I was going to say to you too. Sometimes you get into a sporting allegiance quandary. Most of the time, it's pretty clear for sports fans what you're rooting for. It's easy, right? It's not often is it difficult to know how you feel about something. What was your take on the Bosa Mayfield?
For me, once you're a Brown, you're a Brown.
Yeah,
if you went to Michigan and are now a Brown, you're a Cleveland Brown.
That wasn't.
I don't care. Yeah,
you know.
I don't care where.
Yeah.
Well, so going back, 83 yards, 7-0. Then Baker Mayfield throws 2 interceptions. One of them, I think, was the turning point of the game. Down 14-3. Antonio Callaway on the goal line, kind of didn't catch the ball. It was a bad pass. It wasn't a good pass, but the ball was intercepted, and then it went from the chance of being 14-10 to being 21-3. And I think that's the one that kind of broke the camel's back in terms of the fact that San Francisco got the ball to start the second half. They scored, and I gotta tell you, Garoppolo does such a good job with the play action, with the fake. They had them confused, and they were blocking really, really well. So they executed almost to perfection. And I think it's a tough loss. It's hard to try to find good things on it, but that thing you gotta chalk it off and then wait for Seattle coming next week.
But again, there's another physical team that's going to look to run it down your throat.
That needs to win because San Francisco's in that division undefeated.
Mm-hmm. One of the pillars of Camp Beeline has been toughness, has been fundamentals. It is a training camp that has looked a lot different than the training camps that we've seen over the last handful of seasons. You've been in there, Joseph. What's your take on what you've seen? I mean, it's a completely different look.
Well, I mean, I said this coming out of Summer League. You'd follow John B. You know, the cliche, you'd run through a wall for someone. You'd run through a wall for John Beilein. And he's a leader. You follow him. You listen to him. He explains to the veterans why when he corrects them. He's great with the rookies. And then you have leaders like Tristan who are really kind of they're really just leading the charge, hustling, intensity, leadership, all that stuff. So I'm really impressed with John Beilein at camp so far, really.
And for all of us that know Joe Gabriele, founder of Cavs.com and NBA.com and everything that has to do with .com, we know we call him the Wolf. And John Beilein had gotten something from his playbook because he's talking about one in Wolf and Hunter.
You are Jordan Clarkson is now the Wolf.
Yeah.
Does that mean I am no longer the Wolf?
You are the original Wolf.
Right. Let me back it up.
Wolfie Jr. now?
Yeah.
Or?
John Beilein's instituted. Right. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Wolfie Jr.
Right.
That's Clarkson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Part of the offense John Beilein is instituting. It's a two-guard look, but really it's a 4 on the outside, and it's predicated at times for the small forward to be aggressive and to hunt shots, and he's referred to that position as a wolf. And he's also said that Jordan Clarkson's going to see some time at small forward. My guess is that when you tell Jordan Clarkson, hey, look, you're going to be our wolf and we want you to hunt shots, you probably don't have to ask him twice. Right,
yeah.
When
are we
going to see the wolf tattoo on Jordan Clarkson?
Well, we can get to that in the next segment. Yeah. But John Beilein also said last night that one of his rookies, Kevin Porter Jr., was a wolf. He kind of said, and really in the scrimmage against San Lorenzo, he looked like it.
Yeah, and you can
really,
foresee. I mean, you can foresee the kid's only 19. Yeah. He already has an NBA build.
Yeah,
and you can foresee him potentially stepping into that role. And man, it was a nice debut. We're going to talk a little bit more about this with Darius Garland and Kevin Porter, 2 of the first round selections.
Which I like that.
They look good.
Yeah.
They'll make mistakes, but they show that they belong.
Yeah, and Larry Nance kind of brought something up last week in the media when he said that Kevin Porter's not a good drills guy, and we've all watched practice. He's not, and there are players like that. You probably all have played with him. Yeah. It's true. He looks so kind of laissez-faire, just kind of moves around and drills very effortlessly. But boy, I'll tell you again, Larry said when you roll the ball out there, the kid's a gamer, and he is.
What I liked about I was in San Francisco, but I got a chance to listen to all the post-game interviews, and I like what Clarkson said, because everybody kept asking him about what John Beilein had said a couple of days before, that you will see Jordan Clarkson at the 3 spot. And Jordan said, I'm on the court. You're always going to see me in the corner. You're going to see me taking shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know. As long as I'm in, I don't care.
And boy, did he pick up right where he left off last season. 3rd in the NBA in bench scoring last season. Comes out, nails his first 3. So Jordan's hit the ground running.
Yeah.
What do you have for us in the next segment?
Over-unders? No, we're going to do, how about Cavs most likely to?
Ooh, Cavs
most likely to?
Yeah, okay. Let's do that. That's coming up in the next segment right here on CavsHQ. John, Rafa, and Joe back here on CavsHQ. And for those familiar with the show, you know that each and every week, just about each and every week, Joe Gabriele comes at us with something new.
Whenever we have enough in the budget.
Right.
For like cooking gas.
Speaking of the budget, I like this screen, but can we get something cool back here? I mean, this is really cool, but like...
I would like to see a moving
really
picture
cool, like other stuff
of the field house. Because I think when you look at it live from the outside, that this shot right here moving, it's amazing, all the combinations on the last illuminated. But I would like to see like the beach behind us.
Yeah, or like Ben-Hur, like a Ben-Hur would, something like a big chariot race.
Like the 10 Commandments.
The 10 Commandments. Yeah, with the Black Sea. Yeah. Can we request that for next week?
Can we have the version of the Mad World of the 10 Commandments?
Yes.
Do you know how many of these requests have been granted in the history of the show?
0.
No. Not a 1.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What do you have for us?
Cavaliers most likely to.
Okay,
we've done this in the past, but
this is
very easy. It's just
it's a fan favorite. It's brought back by popular demand.
Let's start out with the easy ones. Which Cavalier player, current Cavalier player, most likely to win a slam dunk contest?
Well, I mean, Junior is.
Kevin Porter Jr.
That's moving forward, right?
Well,
that Junior. I was talking about Larry Nance Jr.
Yeah, but I would like
that
to see
Junior.
We know what he can do,
right?
And he should have won it the last time he participated.
He should have won it. He got gypped.
Yeah,
He
but
did.
I think Kevin Porter Jr.
Gypped.
will be interesting to see how he does in a slam dunk.
I agree. I
With
think
Kevin Porter?
Kevin Porter really. I mean, and you watch him in practice, he can.
We were talking
he can
about
really crush.
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking on what we were talking about last segment. If you watch Kevin Porter long enough, he's going to do something that'll make your eyes pop out. You know what I mean?
Right.
He'll do something to make your hair
athletic.
stand up.
Whereas if you watch Darius Garland in practice, he does every shot he takes. I mean, not every shot, but I mean, he just is a pure shooter. He looks exactly like he's going to look. Kevin Porter Jr.
You know what I like about that, and we talked about it on media day. He's so much bigger than
Yes.
in
Who,
person.
Porter?
No, Garland.
Oh, in person.
In person, he's a point guard. He's listed, and now with the new rule, they changed it. Everybody who was listed at 6'7" is now 6'5",
Right.
and everything like that. But I like the way I like his persona. I like the way
I-
he looks. You know,
Here's what it is to me. I mean, when you contrast, everybody's looking forward to seeing what Darius Garland looks like alongside Colin Sexton. But when you contrast their games, there's such a stark difference.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Colin's so aggressive, and he's downhill, and he's moving north-south. Garland's laid
measured.
back. You know, I was talking to GM Kobe Altman, and he said, Darius's game, when you look at what he can do in the half court, that's where it is for him. You know what I mean? He can get his teammates into actions in the half court, whereas Colin, he's storming, he's going at one speed, and Garland has more of a, just an easy way about him, and it likely, hopefully, is going to be a good contrast for the Cavaliers moving forward in that backcourt.
Yeah,
he
agreed.
likes being the facilitator. I think he enjoys that part of his game.
Bryce Drew was his collegiate coach at Vanderbilt, and Bryce Drew played in the NBA for 5-6 seasons. Said if he played in the NBA, Garland, this is when I played, he would have been one of the best passers in the game. Bryce Drew was in the NBA with Jason Kidd, and the likes of point guards like that. So I mean, that again, it's a college coach pumping up his kid coming out of Vanderbilt, but I think it speaks volumes about what he can do.
And again, we all know he can shoot, and we saw it right in the first preseason game.
Right.
But also, the kid has, he's got some sneaky handle. He's probably a little quicker than people think. So I'm looking forward to seeing like the whole package.
Really nice
obviously the whole thing.
Really nice debut as well. 14 minutes, perfect from the field in the Cavs' first exhibition game on Monday. All right, Joseph, forge
Which
ahead.
current Cavalier, is most likely to be a head coach one day?
Whoa.
I know my pick.
I would say Larry Nance Jr.
Great,
That's an interesting
great
pick.
call.
The way that I
He's
saw
the-
him take over last year, that new role for him to be a leader on the court, and we talked to him on media day, and he's welcoming that opportunity to expose that part of his game. I think I like
That's
the way
interesting.
Okay.
Who do you have?
I'm going to go with Matthew Dellavedova because he's very much like a coach on the court right now. But that's
I
my
hear
pick.
Al
I mean,
Horford doesn't want his kid to play basketball
No.
anymore.
Those two do not get it. Those two do not see eye to eye.
Which
Who do you have?
I don't know who I have. I almost want to pick maybe John Henson. I like the way Henson thinks the game, but
I don't know how he'd look in a suit, though. I mean, really, that's
I don't know. I didn't take that into account.
that's a big
Yeah,
thing.
I didn't.
Really, it's important.
Consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of super tall head coaches.
I like Nance. I'm gonna have to agree
Nance
with you.
Jr.
I like
is
Nance.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Which Cavalier? How about this one? Which non-tattooed Cavalier is most likely to get one? Dylan Windler, Dean Wade, Ante Zizic, Larry Nance Jr., or Kevin Love?
Are you sure those five guys?
I
are
don't think they have any
non-tattooed?
tattoos.
Have you
not that
confirmed that?
I have not examined them.
Oh.
But I don't
Well,
think any of them
good
have
if
thing.
you
tattoos.
Good
examine
thing.
Kevin Love's social media, we know he doesn't have a tattoo.
True enough.
I am not going to.
I don't think Kevin's gonna be getting a tattoo
I'll
anytime
knock
soon.
Kevin off that list. Who else is on the list?
And Windler?
Dean Wade. How about Zizic? I hope he gets maybe he should just get a big one like across his back.
If he had one, he would get like the flag of Croatia or something.
That's what I'm
The
thinking.
chosen Croatian, right?
I-
He still owes,
yeah.
he still owes me the water polo hat, by the way. He should get
he
a
does.
tattoo of a water polo hat.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with that one.
All right.
Okay.
What's next?
Let's move down to here's in your field, which Cavalier is going to have a broadcasting career after his playing days?
That might also be
Be Larry
John
Nance, too.
Henson. That might also be Larry Nance.
Tristan Thompson is somebody that can actually
Tristan's
entertain.
fun.
Tristan
You
will
know
pull
what I
no
mean?
punches.
He would throw an angle
would.
that people will enjoy because he throws it with a flair.
He does.
Speaking of which, did you see Kendrick Perkins just got signed to
Again,
a national
Perk is
deal.
everywhere now.
To be
When
an analyst.
when Kendrick Perkins was here, did you imagine that he would go on to a
I'm
broadcasting career?
Only
after
after you met him. I can't think of another player, maybe in any sport, where you saw him on TV and thought to yourself, how that person would
We
be
always
in
talked
real
about-
life
yeah.
and how different that was once you met him.
Yeah.
In any sport. I mean, Perk's scowling and angry and
Right.
the way he played the game. And you meet him, you're like, this is
We-
one of the,
we have-
this is
we
one
have
of the
always-
greatest people I've ever
There-
met.
We have always talked about that with John, about how guys that have come here via trade,
Yeah.
that we had thought different of the
Yes,
of
sure.
the player, and then once we get to spend time with them, we
Right.
notice it's like a completely different being.
That's such a great point. I mean, again, I make no, I don't hide the fact that I hate the Celtics. I hate them.
Why?
And well,
Why there's
they-
hate
don't
in
get
you?
me going.
Here we go.
I know I have so
All right.
much hate in me.
That's all right.
But I just don't like the Celtics, and I didn't like Kendrick Perkins because he seemed like such a Celtic. He kind of complained and scowled, and
He was the fifth Celtic with that group
he
that
kinda
won
was-
the championship, right?
And
the fifth starter.
I didn't like him, but the minute, like you said, the minute you meet Kendrick Perkins, you just love him.
He
mean-
seems
you mean
the greatest guy.
he
You
just
mean to
seems
tell me
so
you don't like
angry.
the Larry Bird videos I
Oh my
send you
God!
all the time?
No, I don't like any.
Let's move.
I don't
on.
like it.
He's in provoke mode. on the first TV show of the season.
My dog is was named Chief, by the way.
I did
Chief is the
I
one.
kinda
Maybe
like, I was
he-
about
he-
to say the same thing. I kind of like
Chief might be the one Celtic that I can kind of dig. You know,
He always lights up the score.
he does light up the scoreboard.
There we
Which rookie of the Cavs 3 rookies, and you can kind of, I guess, include Dean Wade, although he's a two-way guy, it'll be difficult, is most likely to be on the all-rookie first team?
I think you have to start with Garland.
I think you have to start with Garland, but let's think it through.
You know that Kevin Porter was chosen by his peers
Yes.
as
The steal of the draft.
as the
Yes,
steal of the draft,
yes.
along with I think Bol Bol. It was a tie for the NBA.com surveys a bunch of first-year players right after the draft, and they asked them, a number of questions. One of which was, who was the biggest steal of the draft, and Kevin Porter was right there.
But I gotta tell you, Windler, we haven't had a chance to
Right.
to see him, and if he gets to be what we know, I know you and I always talk about when you lead a conference in points and rebounds, or in three-point shooting
percentage and rebounding.
and rebounding, it is something.
It says something,
And I have seen him, even though he's working out through his injury, through his leg injury, he can shoot.
He can shoot it.
And if he
handle
can
it.
do that
He's
in
really-
the NBA,
Yeah.
and he doesn't need much room. We saw him on Summer League. He doesn't need much room or time to get
Yeah.
his shot up. So he has a good chance as
Yeah.
well.
So I mean, again, it's not always the top
yeah.
picks. Darius Garland has a great chance, but really, it's not unthinkable for any of the three. Or
If you're pinning me down, I'm taking Garland. If you're pinning
that's
me
a
down,
great
I'm
pick.
taking Garland. We're
Yeah.
coming up against a break, Joseph. Any more? One more?
One more. Let's see. Do we have one more? Which Cavalier player is most likely to win the staring contest?
Tristan Thompson.
Ante Zizic.
Oh yeah.
I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say to that.
That means staring without.
Yeah, I got
Laughing
it. I
or
understand what a
without-
staring
Well, yeah.
contest
Yeah.
is. Right.
Would you like more? Would you like an
I
easier
take
one?
I
Easier
take
one,
I
yeah.
take Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah.
Joseph,
Current
thanks.
Cavalier.
Yeah, Joseph, thanks.
You're welcome, guys.
All right, we'll be back to wrap things up right after this. We're back to wrap things up on Cavs HQ. The Cavaliers on Monday kicked off the preseason with a 120-89 victory over San Lorenzo. 3 more to go, 3 tune-ups, and off we go to the regular season.
2 more road games and 1 home game here with the Celtics to finish up the preseason. But first, the visit to Detroit,
Little
new team.
Little Caesars Arena.
With Derrick Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Who
had a
in
great-
Moulton had a great season last
season
year.
last
So
year.
it should be interesting to see. And then a very strange time on Sunday
Yeah, against
against
we're
the
going to be
Celtics.
going up against a certain football game that's going to
yes.
be taking place. So you're going to be at the Browns game.
We're
right?
going to be doing the Browns game here at First Energy Stadium. They play at 1 against the Seahawks. So no Spanish broadcast of the Celtics game. The Cavs
Okay.
at Celtics, but we'll be back for the Celtics game here.
home and home against the Celtics. We wrap up next Tuesday the preseason schedule, and then that next Wednesday at Orlando.
Yes.
To take on the Magic should be fun. Again, Camp Beeline rolls along, and hey, there's some jobs at stake and some rotation spots at stake over these last 3 preseason.
And that's
games.
what I've been telling people. Everybody thinks the preseason is not
This
important
preseason's
for this
important.
team.
Yeah.
There is a lot of guys that want to get minutes.
Yeah.
There is a lot of guys that are looking for jobs, and there's then also, the veterans who want to make sure that they keep the coaches comfortable.
It's been a long time since we've
Does it
been
matter?
here when we've been excited for a preseason.
Correct.
We're excited for camp. And that, camp hasn't disappointed one bit, and, be 3 more to go in the preseason.
I can't wait.
Yeah, we're going to find some things out. Thanks to Campy Russell. Thanks to Joe Gabriele. For Rafa, I'm John. This has been Cavs HQ.